Section 1. You will hear a woman called Claire telephoning Lakeside Retreats, a holiday cottage agency. She speaks with Tom, a booking agent. First, you have 20 seconds to look at questions 1 to 5. Now listen carefully and answer question 1 to 5.
Good morning. Lakeside Retreats. Tom speaking. How can I help you today?
Oh, hello, yes. I'm looking to book a holiday cottage for August. I had a look at your website last night, but I'd love to get a bit more information.
Of course. Happy to help. Let me just take your details first. Could I get your name, please?
Yes, it's Claire Whitmore. That's Whitmore.
Whitmore. Lovely. And which dates are you thinking, Claire?
We'd like to arrive on let me just check my calendar. The 13th of August flip, distractor date. Actually, no, sorry, the 12th. The 12th to the 19th of August.
12th to the 19th of August. That's 7 nights. And how many people will be staying?
So there'll be 4 adults, and we're also bringing my sister's 3 children, but they're under 12, so I wasn't sure if they count separately. Flip mentions 3 children, but asks for adults only.
For our booking purposes, we just need the number of adults, so that's 4. And could I take an email address?
Yes, it's c.whitmore@mailbox.net, all lowercase.
c.whitmore@mailbox.net. Perfect. And how would you like to pay? We accept card, bank transfer, or check.
I'd normally use my card, but actually, Flip mentions card first, then switches. Could I do a bank transfer? That's easier for me to track.
Absolutely. Bank transfer is fine.
Before you hear the rest of Section 1, you have 20 seconds to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
So, the cottage you saw on the website, was that the Lakeside Cottage or the Hillview Cottage?
I was looking at both actually. I think I prefer Lakeside. The Hillview does have an extra bedroom which would be handy. Flip. Extra bedroom is distractor B, and Lakeside is a touch more expensive per night. Flip. Distractor D, but it has a private garden, which we really want with the children.
Lovely choice. It's a beautiful spot. I should also mention, if you're planning to explore the area, we partner with a local company that does bicycle hire. They deliver straight to the cottage door, and it's very popular with families. We also have information about boat hire and guided walks if you're interested. Flip. Boat hire and walks mentioned, but Tom specifically recommends bicycle hire.
Oh, bicycles sound great. Now, is there a cleaning fee?
Yes, there's a standard cleaning fee which covers fresh bed linen for all beds. Towels are available for a small extra charge if you'd prefer not to bring your own. Flip. Towels mentioned but not included. Distractor B.
Got it. And checkout time?
Check-in is from 4 in the afternoon. Checkout is 10 in the morning. Flip. 11 am, sometimes available by request, but standard is 10, though if the cottage is empty after you, we can sometimes arrange 11 o'clock, but that's not guaranteed.
Fine. 10 is perfectly manageable. Any other changes to the booking policy I should know about?
Yes, actually, we've recently introduced a refundable security deposit of £200, which is returned within 5 days of your checkout, as long as there's no damage. We've also extended our minimum stay to 2 nights in peak season, so you're absolutely fine for August.
That all sounds reasonable. Thank you, Tom. I'll go ahead and book.
That is the end of section 1. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers.
Section 2. You will hear Greg, a human resources manager, giving a talk to new employees about the company's workplace wellness program. First, you have 20 seconds to look at questions 11 to 14. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 14.
Good morning everyone and welcome to Hartwell Solutions. I'm Greg from Human Resources and I'm going to spend the next few minutes walking you through our workplace wellness program, something we're genuinely very proud of here. The company was founded back in 2015, but the wellness program itself wasn't introduced until 3 years later, in 2018. Since then it's grown considerably and now covers everything from physical fitness to mental health support. Let me start with Mindfulness Monday. Every Monday lunchtime, 12 to 1, there's a facilitated mindfulness session in Meeting Room C now. People often assume this is about improving focus or productivity, but the core purpose is stress reduction. We find that Monday morning is when people feel most overwhelmed, and the session gives everyone a reset point for the week. Next, the gym membership subsidy. A lot of staff ask us to cover the whole cost, or at least 75%, but what we currently offer is 50%. So the company covers half of whatever gym membership you sign up for, whether that's an on-site gym or one near your home. Just send the invoice to HR and we'll reimburse you monthly. Now, the Thursday Walking Club. I do have to let you know it's temporarily suspended at the moment. In the past it was paused during very cold weather, but this time it's because the main path through the park is being completely resurfaced. It should be back up and running within about 6 weeks.
Before you hear the rest of Section 2, you have 20 seconds to look at questions 15 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 15 to 20.
Let me run through some of the other wellness features we have available. The rooftop garden, on the 5th floor, is open to all staff throughout the working day, no booking required, anytime you like. It's a wonderful space for a quiet lunch or a short break between meetings. The counseling service operates differently. We have a qualified therapist who comes in on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and appointments must be arranged in advance through our. All sessions are completely confidential. Yoga classes are held on Tuesday and Thursday mornings, before 9, in the ground floor studio. They're free for all employees and suitable for all ability levels. The nutrition workshops are something new we introduced this year, but they're not run by our internal team. We partnered with a nutritionist from a local health clinic, so it's an external provider that comes in. Very popular. I'd encourage you all to sign up. And finally, the relaxation room. This is a quiet, screen-free space on the 3rd floor, available for short breaks, and there are some comfortable chairs, plants, and soft lighting. Just sign in at the front desk before using it. For the full schedule, dates, times, room numbers, it's all on the company intranet under the People and Culture section. There's also a physical notice board in reception with highlights, but the most up-to-date version is always online. Right. Any questions? No? Brilliant. Enjoy your first day, everyone.
That is the end of section 2. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers. Section 3. You will hear 2 students, Priya and Ben, discussing their psychology research assignment with their supervisor, Dr. Morrison. First, you have 20 seconds to look at questions 21 to 26. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
Come in. Good to see you both. Sit down. Now, how's the assignment progressing?
Honestly, Dr. Morrison, we're a bit stuck. We've both done a lot of reading and we're interested in memory and learning, but we can't quite agree on the methodology.
Yeah, Priya wants to do a literature-based approach, and I'm pushing for a small controlled experiment. We're both sort of right, but we need guidance.
All right. First, what's the angle you're exploring?
Spaced repetition and its effect on memory retention. We were thinking of using Ebbinghaus's original data as our baseline.
I'd be cautious about that. Some people assume it's been discredited, which isn't quite true. The real issue is that Ebbinghaus only tested on himself. It's a single participant study. It's a founding work, yes, but it lacks the generalizability modern researchers require. I'd suggest citing it as historical context, but grounding your review in more recent multi-participant work.
That makes sense. Could we still make the case for spaced repetition being superior to massed practice?
Absolutely, and there's very strong evidence for it. The key reason it works, and this is worth stating clearly in your paper, is that it aligns with the brain's natural forgetting curve. By reviewing material just before you'd normally forget it, you strengthen the memory trace far more efficiently than repeated back-to-back study. Some people argue it reduces study time overall, which may be true, but that's a secondary effect, not the mechanism.
Okay, so for the methodology, I was thinking we could use an EEG to track neural activity during spaced versus massed revision sessions.
That's an ambitious design, Ben. The problem is that EEG equipment isn't available to undergraduate students through the department. Another institution might do it, but it would make your results very hard to replicate independently.
I was thinking something simpler, a vocabulary recall test, comparing participants who studied using spaced repetition against those who used massed study. And I think we need to control for prior knowledge of the topic, otherwise we can't fairly compare the groups.
Good instinct, prior, controlling for prior knowledge is essential here. You might consider a short pre-test to screen participants. Age could matter too, but for a student-based sample it's less of an issue.
Before you hear the rest of Section 3, you have 20 seconds to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
Now, ethics. This is important. Your ethics form needs to be submitted at least 2 weeks before you begin collecting any data. Not 1 week. 2. The committee meets fortnightly and you need to be on their agenda.
We'll get onto that straight away. Oh, one more thing. We've been discussing whether to look at short-term or long-term memory. We've decided on short-term, it's more controllable within a single session.
Sensible choice. And for participants, who did you have in mind?
We were thinking of recruiting fellow students. Is that appropriate?
University students are a perfectly reasonable sample for this kind of study. The main advantage is access. You can recruit quickly, which matters for your timeline. Just acknowledge the sample's limitations in your discussion.
And in terms of structure, what must the written assignment include?
You'll need a critical evaluation of at least 2 existing published studies. Not just a summary, a genuine evaluation of their strengths and limitations. That's a significant marking criterion.
Could we meet again once we've drafted the methodology section?
Absolutely. I'm available the first Tuesday of next month. Drop me an email and I'll confirm a time.
That is the end of Section 3. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers. Section 4. You will hear a university lecture on the deep ocean and its exploration. First, you have 20 seconds to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning. In today's lecture, we're turning our attention to perhaps the most mysterious environment on Earth, the deep ocean. Despite covering more than half our planet's surface and making up over 95% of the habitable space on Earth, it remains remarkably poorly understood. Let's start with some basic geography. The deepest known point in the ocean is called the Challenger Deep, and it sits at the southern end of the Mariana Trench in the western Pacific. The name comes from the HMS Challenger expedition of the 1870s, which first recorded extraordinary depths in that region. How deep is it exactly? The best current measurements put it at approximately 11 kilometers below sea level. To put that in perspective, if you placed Mount Everest at the bottom, its summit would still be more than 2 kilometers underwater. Humans have, remarkably, reached that depth. The first crewed descent to the very bottom of the Challenger Deep was accomplished in 1960, by oceanographer Jacques Picard and U.S. Navy Lieutenant Don Walsh, aboard a vessel called the Trieste. The descent took nearly 5 hours and the crew spent just 20 minutes at the bottom. More recent solo dives have been made by filmmaker James Cameron in 2012, but the historic first was 1960. The conditions at such depths are extreme. The pressure at the bottom of the Challenger Deep is over 1,000 times greater than the atmospheric pressure we experience at sea level. Temperature is just above freezing, and of course there is absolutely no sunlight whatsoever. And yet life exists there. One of the most extraordinary features of deep-sea organisms is their ability to produce light. This process called bioluminescence is used by an estimated 90% of deep-sea creatures for communication, attracting prey, and avoiding predators. It's not the same as the phosphorescence you might see on a beach at night. Bioluminescence is a biological process involving chemical reactions within living cells. Perhaps the most significant discovery in deep-sea biology was made in 1977, when researchers discovered hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor near the Galapagos Islands. These are essentially underwater geysers, cracks in the Earth's crust where superheated, mineral-rich water erupts into the ocean. What made this discovery so revolutionary was what was living around them, entire ecosystems thriving without any sunlight at all, powered entirely by chemical energy. This upended the assumption that all life on Earth ultimately depends on photosynthesis. So how do we explore these environments? For decades, the main tool has been remotely operated vehicles or ROVs. These are uncrewed submersibles controlled from the surface by cable, equipped with cameras, robotic arms, and a range of scientific instruments. They can dive to depths far beyond what is safe for humans and can remain down for many hours at a time. Why does this matter practically? Deep-sea organisms have evolved unique biochemical solutions to extreme conditions. Scientists are increasingly interested in these compounds for the development of new medicines, particularly in the field of antibiotics, where resistance to existing drugs is becoming a serious global problem. However, the deep ocean is under serious and growing threat. The two greatest dangers identified by marine scientists are overfishing, particularly of deep water species, and deep-sea mining. There is enormous commercial interest in the polymetallic nodules found on the ocean floor, which contain manganese, cobalt, and rare earth elements vital for battery production. The environmental cost of mining these is, as yet, very poorly understood. I'll close with a striking statistic. Despite all our technological capability, fewer than 20% of the ocean floor has been mapped in any detail. In fact, we have more detailed maps of the surface of Mars than we do of our own ocean floor. It remains, in many ways, the last true frontier on this planet. Next week we'll be looking at specific organisms, particularly extremophiles, and what they may tell us about the possibility of life elsewhere in the solar system. Thank you.
That is the end of section 4. You now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet.